And then failure, realizing that there are things that you did well in that process, even though you failed. You don't want to change the things you did well. So you want to really take a step back. And I think you mentioned of having a day or something to think about failure. Um,
Uh-huh.
but just what did I do well, and what can I improve upon? Because you don't want to scratch everything. Because there's things that you, like I said, I know that I'm very process. Just because one day I failed at a process doesn't mean that I'm still not a process person.
Right.
So just realizing that, embrace it, and you're gonna learn by living every day. I mean, that's the ultimate. You're gonna be a lifelong learner. So just do it and then work through it, and have your personal board of directors or people you can call. And it's important in those moments when you feel like everything's falling apart. Because I can recall a few years ago, I said, I tried this new direction. Maybe I should just go back to traditional engineering. And I was talking to someone there, like, just calm down. You're having a moment. You will
Hmm.
regret going backwards. So allow yourself to have a moment and sit with whatever's going on.
Such a good point too, because sometimes we think progress is linear, especially in our visually driven social media society. What can I control here? I might not be able to control what just happened, but I can control my reaction. Even if I'm very emotional, I still have control to decide how I act. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. And, the day reflecting on failure, I say that a lot, and some people, you can disagree or agree, but I find that self reflection is so key to saying, what can I learn from whatever just happened and move forward, whether it's a success or failure.
For the students in the audience, I graduated in the top 15% of my class. I was in the National Honor Society. I worked at 3 Fortune 500 companies. But in 2013, there was a layoff. And I found myself trying to start over without the social capital that I needed to move forward. And so this journey has been all about that. And if I take a deeper look into my journey, there are 8 steps that it took for me to become Vice President of Education and Programs. The first step, as we learned earlier about pulling yourself over the bootstraps, I was an intern at Lockheed Martin. And the interesting thing about it, I thought about it, my father knew the Vice President of Engineering. And he provided my resume to him, and that's how I got the internship. Of course, I was qualified. I was an engineering student at Tuskegee University, but social capital definitely helped me in that area. And when I graduated from college, I moved to Boeing in Seattle, a long way from home, and I went to get my master's degree from New Mexico State University. It was distance learning at the time. And then I decided I wanted to move back closer to home. I'm from New Orleans, so I took a bold step and moved to Houston. So as a transition job, I was a substitute teacher, and then I worked at Raytheon for almost 7 years. And I have to admit, even before the layoff, I felt like there was something greater I was supposed to do, but I didn't know what it was. So after I was laid off, I said, I spent about 13 years in industry.